Algebra 1, Lesson 69, we are adding and subtracting radical expressions. So we have a couple vocab terms. Number one, we can have like radicals. That's when we have the same radicand and index. Unlike radicals, we have different radicands and index numbers. Okay, so we need both of them in order to be a like radical. So remember that if we have something like 3 the third root of 27. Well, we would say that 27 is the radicand and the index is 3. The only way to have a like radical is to have another one, even if it says something like 2 times the cube root of 27. Those would be like radicals because our radicand is the same and the index is the same. So, when we combine like radicals, we treat them like terms. We can add or subtract them, just like we would with a variable. So, for example, if instead of 2 root 7 plus 4 root 7, we had 2x plus 4x, well, we would say those are like terms because the variables are the same with the same exponent. So, we can combine them by combining the coefficients to say we have 6x. Same with our radicals. We don't change the radical, it stays as a root 7, but we just count up how many total we have. And in this case, we have 6 root 7s. Let's look at some other examples. 3 root 5 and 6 root 5. Well, same index, same radicand, so we can combine them to get 9 root 5. And 4 root xy minus 6 root xy, those xy's are the same. They are both square roots, so we're good to go. And we get negative 2 root xy. Remember, the radical doesn't change. And in the last one, we can subtract the 7 and the 2, and we get 5 root ab. Okay. Now, what about these ones? 6 root 2 plus 8 root 11. Well, unfortunately, because the radicands are not the same, 2 and 11, we cannot combine them. And we also see that root 2 and root 11 are in their simplest form. So, unfortunately, we have to leave it as is. And same with this other one. Root 5 and root 7 are not the same, and they can't be simplified to get something that's the same. So we leave them as is. Let's try these two, though. 2 over 7 root 5q plus 3 root 5q over 7 minus 4 root 3r over 7. Well, one thing that's good is that we do have common denominators here of 7. But we need to look at our radicals, and we see we have 2 of the same, root 5q and root 5q. So we can add those to get 5 root 5q over 7. The question is, can we combine it with root 3r over 7? And we say no. Because those radicals are not the same, we cannot combine them. The only other way to write them is still separated as 5 root 5q minus 4 root 3r, but because they have the same denominator, we can put them over one denominator. Same idea with the last one. Those root 6r's can be combined to 12 root 6r, but we can't combine it with the minus 6 root 2s, but they are all over 5. Okay? Now, sometimes we can look at some and say, well, we can't combine them, but maybe we can simplify first and then combine, and that's the case here. So in this case, we can combine these last two terms, 2 root 2m and 4 root 2m. And with this one, we need to simplify it. And remember, a way to simplify root 8m cubed is saying this is 2 times 2 times 2 and times m times m times m. So we can circle 2 2's and pop it out to be this 2. Circle 2 m's, pop it out to be this m, and we're left with a 2 and an m inside. Now we have 6m root 2m plus 2 root 2m plus 4 root 2m. Okay, and we can combine a couple things. First of all, of course, we can combine these last two terms to say this is 6 root 2m. So I have 6m root 2m plus 6 root 2m. Well, unfortunately, we can't really combine the coefficients because those are not like terms. We have like radicals, but we don't have like terms to combine for our coefficients. The only way to write it is like this right here, saying we have 6m plus 6, okay, combining those two coefficients, times the square root of 2m, because both of those have the square root of 2m. It's kind of like factoring, kind of similar. Basically, you're taking out the root 2m from each of them. Let's try a couple more. C root 75c plus the square root of 27c cubed. So for the first one, we can take out, well, it's c root 5 times 3 times c. So we have those 5s that we can come out, and that means that we have 5c root 3c for the first term. And the second term, root 27c to the third, well, that means that we can take out, well, that's 9 times 3, and the square root of 9 is 3. And we can take out a pair of c's, so we have 3c root 3c. So altogether, this 5c root 3c and 3c root 3c, we get a total of 8c root 3c. In that case, we do have like terms, so we can combine them. Okay, in our next one, we can combine these last two terms to get 8 root 5n. And in the first one, we can take out a 4 out of the 20, so we have 4 times 2 on the outside, and an n, root, and we have a 5n left inside. You can check that for yourself. And then these two, 8n root 5n and 8 root 5n, well, the coefficients aren't like terms, so we can combine them like this. 8n plus 8 times the square root of 5n. And the last one, we end up seeing that we can pull out a 16, so the square root of 16 is 4d root 3d minus the, let's see, 70, so we could take out a 5 because square root of 25 is 5, and we can take out a d root 3d, so we are left with a negative d root 3d for the last one. Okay? All right, just a couple more examples here, and I'll just show most of these to you, but find the perimeter of the right triangle with the lengths of the two legs as 4 root 9 and 2 root 64, and the hypotenuse is 2 root 100. Okay, well, just think about this in the case of just simplifying. Okay, we have 4 root 9, that's just 4 times 3, plus 2 times 8, plus 2 times 10, so we can combine all of those. But sometimes they might not be as simple. This one is. You can try that one for yourself. Okay, but maybe we have to just simplify them. So a rectangular swimming pool has a length of square root of 800 feet and square root of 648. Simplify those to their simplest radical form and see if you can combine those like terms. All right, and similarly, you can try this one as well. All right, when you see these square roots as part of some word problems, they're just wanting you to combine like terms. And here's the answer for this one here. So we do have like terms here that we can combine, and we end up seeing that we get 76 root 2 feet. Okay? Well, I hope this is helpful for your homework and for studying.